Hey guys, Hadrigon here, back with yet another Hunter x Hunter video, and today I'm reviewing the second part of Hunter x Hunter 99's Greed Island OVA. Up till now, I've reviewed all of Hunter x Hunter 99, and this is the final segment until this review series has been completed. So the difference with this one, in proportion to all the other Hunter x Hunter 99 parts, is, to put it frankly, how fastly paced it is. We've got 13 episodes, and yet we're covering from the events of right after Gon and Killua are able to best Beanote and he goes and turns himself in, until they find Kites. And this pacing is really quite different, but it's not bad, it's actually pretty beneficial. And here's why. All throughout Hunter x Hunter 99, and even to some extent throughout the York New OVA, and even less during the first Greed Island OVA, it is added filler, but filler that enriches the world and gives us more characterization. For instance, the use of incorporating NPCs to make the events feel more real, like NPCs reacting to Nobunaga decapitating someone. But here, it completely removes that, and we get the most accurate manga to anime adaptation in the entirety of Hunter x Hunter. These 13 episodes really just cover manga chapter to chapter to chapter. There is no deviance from the manga, and I think that it's quite the enjoyable experience because of how fast the pacing is. Things don't feel like they're dragging along. We're going from one set of events to the next to the next. And it's really quite rewarding. There's a certain momentum to it. It's got a snappiness which I particularly enjoyed. And I enjoyed this because throughout Hunter x Hunter 99, the pacing had gradually been getting faster. And here it feels like it was the ultimate culmination. Through this mechanism, it did feel like it was the grand finale. Like this was the end of this franchise. And I think it's a good thing because back then it kind of was. So, again, there's another gripe I have, which is with the first episode, which is very similar to the gripe I had with the other first episode of the Greed Island OVA. I've got no idea what is up with these first episodes, but again, the first episode, the animation was horrible. It was oversaturated like crazy, and yeah, it's just, I don't understand what's going on. It's like, each time they do a Greed Island OVA, the first episode sucks. And all the others are really good. Thankfully though, after that, from episode 2 to episode 13, it was really quite the enjoyable watch. Everything felt great since it is that one-to-one adaptation. And I loved in particular the trimming of the entire plot in comparison to that of 2011, as of course, in the manga, Greed Island is really well paced, whilst in the anime of 2011, it does have a bit of bloat, which makes it feel like it goes on for a bit too long. For instance, in particular, the subplots of Killua going to redo the Hunter exam, and that of Bisky and Gon's training, is much more narrow field and goes a lot faster, and I think that really helps keep that sense of momentum. And then, of course, the big plot line, which is the main one of Greed Island, is that of the Bomber and of Genfru. And I thought that Genfru's characterization in this OVA was absolutely splendid. There was something about Genfru in 2011 that just didn't seem right with me. He felt more almost like a villain of the week, like someone from Team Rocket, than he did the big bad antagonist. In the manga, Genfru had this ridiculous amount of aura. He was a scary guy. The encounter with Gon in his battle against Genfru felt like a horror survival situation where Gon just needs to survive going up against someone that he seemingly has no chance of beating. And I love the way that they really depicted how malicious he was. And they really did that through the lack of the censorship that's in 2011. That scene where, of course, the Bomber makes his announcements, "I'm the Bomber," and everyone's heads gets blown off into oblivion, whilst not quite as brutal as the manga. The fact that it was actually shown and it was very explicit meant that the change in tone felt very real. It felt like, oh, shoot, okay, things are getting going now. And because of that fast pacing, that initial shock factor moments in that plot line never really ceased to be in the back of your mind, since everything kept progressing alongside of it. And I really liked in particular the way that everything felt this magnitude. There was a certain feeling when watching this OVA, and I can't quite put my finger on how they managed to encapsulate this feeling, but it really felt like the finale. It felt like almost an Avengers movie. Everything felt so grand. There was no skipping of, small talk. There was no small chemistry moments of Gon and Killua. No. We're brushing off from one event to the next, and I'm all for it. So, Razor. He's another big component of this OVA. Razor here is an absolute menace. Now, Razor as well in the manga is a character that's absolutely terrifying. In particular in the manga, his facial expressions are some of the best I've ever seen in manga, period. And whilst he doesn't quite encapsulate that to the same extent, he does feel like an extremely menacing presence. All the way from the build-up towards getting him to his small smiles and grins, he looks sadistic. And I absolutely loved it. And the big theme, of course, within the fantastic dodgeball battle, which is pretty much the same for all the adaptations. But what I loved about this one in particular is just how much Gon was shown to be vulnerable. I love that because it shows how Gon is willing to go up against an insurmountable task like he has the confidence of someone who's done it before, and this would actually be the antithesis for later on how he was able to best Genfu. And I love this so much. I really enjoy Hisoka in particular in this adaptation because he's got a bit of a different, character design, which I'm not sure how I feel of, but he is so creepy. And there's just some moments of, whilst it's kind of disturbing, we all know the moment I'm talking about. I do like how they made it more creepy than it already was. Because the more creepy Hisoka gets, the more that he does feel like he's got a staged presence within the events. And I love this, of course. There's not too much I can say about the volleyball game since it's the same in all the adaptations. And yeah, if you enjoyed it in the manga or in the 2011 anime, you're going to absolutely love it here. Of course, the animation's a bit different. I love in particular the way that Nen looks. Nen's almost got this almost like Dragon Ball key look to it. It's very different. It's I don't know if it's better or worse. It's just different. But Nen is very artistically beautiful. So going on to the main final plot line, which is the Bombers versus Gon, Killua, and Bisky. Now this was fantastic, of course. Killua's battle was great here. I loved how the battles went back to back to back. We got the conclusion of both battles and then the first part of Gon's within an episode. And I was thinking, this is fantastic. No exposition, no overthinking. Everything just went and it went very smoothly. Now, for Genfu and Gon, this is by far the greatest part of this adaptation. This battle was exceptional. Oh my goodness. This is the only moments where they really did add some scenes in from the manga. But this was a moment where it's not filler, because it is what is implied within Togashi's work. Genfu beats the hell out of Gon. You got these scenes where Genfu is piling up combinations against Gon like a prime Mike Tyson. And it really does feel desperate. It feels tough. We see Gon's eye slowly closing. We see his desperation. And it all culminates in his stubbornness. He's finding it difficult because he's going against Bisky's plan. And I love how in the background that both simultaneously the plot lines going on side by side with each other. And of course, the big finale, Gon's concession to give in and of course take out the main bomber. This was fantastic. And the other change, which is, of course, the 2011 anime, it was the same in the manga. is just the grandeur of the after party. The after party felt huge. It felt like this cataclysmic event. It really did feel like the end of, your standard movie, where whether it be the Lord of the Rings or whatever it is, at the end of an usually action-packed movie, there's a scene at the end where all the characters are celebrating. It's like, wow, we finally beat this monster. We finally did this. And it had that same conclusive feeling within this OVA. And I really enjoyed it. I thought that it felt like a satisfying end. It was very bittersweet, the moments where, of course, you have to say bye to Bisky. Because there, it's in the last episode. We're not ever going to see her again. At least that's what it must have felt like towards an avid viewer, an avid Hunter x Hunter anime fan in 2004. And we end on the most wicked of cliffhangers known to man. How the 2004 anime audience survived this cliffhanger, I will never know. This surely is the reason why Togashi has so many volume sales. It's gotta be. Everyone that watched this ending must have just gone, screw this, I'm going to the manga. Because we end right as Kite turns his face and we're able to see, that's Kite. And then it just goes, black. So, wow. What an adaptation. What a moment in the anime history of Hunter x Hunter. I do think this second Greed Island OVA is significantly better than the first, although I must say I still don't think it quite reaches the highest of Hunter x Hunter 99, and of, in my opinion, the greatest anime Hunter x Hunter ever being the York New City OVA. But it does come close in certain aspects, and I really liked it. The modern animation is, you can see the starting to get in that groove. While it's not as nice, not as artistic, and not as pleasant as the 99 animation, it isn't bad by any means. It's very watchable. That's the main thing. The main gripe which is placed on the Greed Island OVAs is that it's unwatchable. It's old, it looks funky, but here it really isn't that big of a deal. At least not how it's portrayed. So if I had to give it a rating, I'd most likely give or take an 8 out of 10. And I think that's because it's got a lot of strengths. It's got the strengths of the way that the momentum, the pacing, the world building, the characters, staying true to the source material. I think that's a huge bonus, staying true to the source material. And the negatives, of course, being that at times, it does feel like things are going a bit too quickly. It's hard to get that balance whenever you're speeding up something, but also it's just, it's a difficult one. And I do think that overall, this Greed Island OVA did most things right. And I believe it is a must watch for all Hunter x Hunter fans. Anyway, if you enjoyed this review, please feel free to leave a like. Subscribe if you enjoy Hunter x Hunter, as I do Hunter x Hunter content every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday. And yes, I hope you've all had a fantastic day. This was Hadrigon. Peace out.